Welcome to our Trump Briefing Show. Today, we dive into the ongoing federal election campaign where affordability is at the forefront. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre and NDP leader Jagmeet Singh are both pushing for measures to ease the financial burden on Canadians. While Singh proposes emergency price caps on essential food items, Poilievre is advocating for tax write-offs for trades workers. Meanwhile, Liberal leader Mark Carney is engaging with constituents in Ottawa, focusing on U.S. tariffs and infrastructure support. In a significant shakeup in public health, Dr. Peter Marks, the FDA's leading vaccine official, has resigned, taking a strong stance against the spread of misinformation by Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Marks expressed his concerns about the department's transparency and the impact of false narratives on public health, particularly in light of a measles outbreak. His departure signals a critical moment in the fight for evidence-based health policies amid rising misinformation. Finally, we explore the fervent support for Donald Trump among evangelical leaders, notably Paula White, who preaches about Trump's divine mission at a large gathering in Miami. White's controversial views intertwine religion and politics, raising eyebrows about the implications for democracy in America. As we unpack these stories, please stay tuned for more detailed insights. The Toronto Star reports on the ongoing federal election campaign in Canada, highlighting the focus of both the Conservative and NDP parties on affordability measures. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh has made a bold promise to cap prices on essential food items like pasta and infant formula, while also advocating for higher taxes on grocery chain profits to enhance competition in the sector. Meanwhile, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is campaigning in Winnipeg, where he plans to unveil his proposal to expand tax write-offs for trade workers who travel long distances for work. Both parties, however, have not disclosed the financial implications of their proposals. As the campaign progresses, Singh's criticisms of corporate grocers and Poilievre's focus on tax reductions remain central to their messaging, even as the political landscape shifts with the Liberals gaining ground in polls. The Toronto Star also reports on the resignation of Dr. Peter Marks, the top vaccine official at the FDA, who has stepped down, citing concerns over the promotion of misinformation regarding vaccinations by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Marks expressed his frustration in a resignation letter, stating that the Secretary of Health is more interested in affirming false narratives than in pursuing truth and transparency. He underscored the importance of scientific integrity in public health, referencing the ongoing measles outbreak as a dire consequence of eroding trust in vaccination science. His departure raises alarms among public health experts, who worry about the implications for evidence-based policymaking in the face of rising anti-vaccine sentiments. The Toronto Star further explores the influence of Paula White, a prominent evangelist and head of Trump's White House faith office, at a massive gathering in Miami. White, who preaches that Trump is divinely chosen to lead, rallied nearly 4,000 attendees to support his vision for America, intertwining religion and politics in a manner that critics argue undermines the separation of church and state. Her controversial statements and strong conservative views have sparked debate about the implications of Christian nationalism in the U.S. White's growing political clout raises concerns among scholars and activists about the potential for authoritarianism and the promotion of a narrow interpretation of Christianity in governance. Despite the controversies, her followers see her as a transformative figure, reflecting a significant segment of American society that views faith as integral to national identity and policy. The Independent reports on the emergence of two documentaries, October 8 and The Encampments, which delve into the turmoil surrounding pro-Palestine protests on U.S. college campuses after the Gaza conflict escalated. The documentaries highlight the tension between pro-Palestine sentiments and accusations of anti-Semitism, with October 8 suggesting the protests stem from a mix of anti-Semitism and misunderstandings about the Israel-Palestine situation. In contrast, The Encampments focuses on student experiences and motivations, showcasing how personal connections to the Palestinian cause inspired many demonstrators. Both films, however, face criticism for their selective narratives, failing to adequately represent the voices of Jewish students involved in the protests or the complexities of the political landscape, including the influence of figures like Trump and the reactions of university administrations. CBC reveals the internal strife within the Conservative Party of Canada as they grapple with the fallout from U.S. President Trump's tariff threats. Sources describe the campaign as dysfunctional, with a centralized power structure that stifles collaboration and leaves staff feeling belittled. Concerns are mounting as the party struggles to maintain momentum against a resurgent Liberal Party, led by Mark Carney. Veteran strategist Corey Teniak publicly criticized the campaign's focus on minor issues rather than addressing the pressing concerns surrounding Trump's policies, suggesting a disconnect between the campaign leadership and the electorate's priorities. As tensions rise, insiders fear a civil war within the party, with aggressive behavior reported among senior leaders, further complicating the campaign's effectiveness. The Independent also highlights UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer's preparations for potential trade repercussions as Trump moves forward with tariffs that could impact the UK. Initially optimistic about avoiding these tariffs, the UK government now faces the reality of a trade war, prompting discussions of retaliatory measures. Starmer's administration is actively exploring options to mitigate the fallout, including the possibility of scrapping a planned digital services tax to facilitate a new trade deal with the US. Despite ongoing negotiations, there remains uncertainty about the outcome, with officials acknowledging Trump's unpredictability. The looming tariffs threaten to disrupt supply chains and exacerbate the UK's economic challenges, underscoring the urgency of finding a resolution in a rapidly shifting political landscape. BBC reports that the US government is launching an investigation into Disney's diversity and inclusion (DEI) practices, led by FCC Chairman Brendan Carr. This inquiry stems from concerns that Disney's DEI initiatives may not comply with federal regulations. Carr's letter to Disney CEO Robert Iger emphasizes the importance of ensuring that the company does not engage in discriminatory practices, and he seeks clarity on Disney's representation policies and its characters. The investigation is part of a broader crackdown on DEI initiatives by the Trump administration, which has also affected companies globally, including those in France. Disney, known for its family-friendly content and theme parks, has recently made changes to its DEI policies, but Carr remains skeptical about their compliance with FCC regulations. The Independent highlights the tension between the Trump administration and Denmark regarding Greenland. During a visit to the island, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance expressed that military action would not be necessary, despite Trump's assertions about the need for U.S. control over the territory. Danish Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen criticized the tone of the U.S. rhetoric, emphasizing the importance of respectful dialogue among allies. Additionally, Trump signed an executive order threatening to cut federal funding for the Smithsonian Institution over its programs that he claims promote divisive narratives. This ongoing dispute reflects broader issues of diplomatic relations and the challenges faced by the U.S. in managing its international partnerships. Al Jazeera discusses the simultaneous anti-migration efforts by the Trump administration and the European Union. While the U.S. has ramped up deportations, including targeting foreign nationals with legal status, the EU is implementing its own rigorous measures through the new Pact on Migration and Asylum. This pact facilitates expedited deportations and the establishment of return hubs outside EU borders, effectively offloading migrants to Balkan countries. Croatia, for instance, has intensified its border control efforts, resulting in widespread human rights violations against migrants. The article warns that these policies dehumanize asylum seekers and calls for solidarity and resistance against such injustices, highlighting the need for accountability in the face of expanding militarized border controls. The Independent reports that President Trump is now embroiled in a conflict with the Smithsonian Institution, launching an executive order aimed at purging what he describes as divisive, race-centered ideology from American cultural institutions. This order, titled Restoring Truth and Sanity to American History, seeks to divert federal funding from exhibits that contradict his vision of shared American values, a move critics label as an attempt to whitewash history. The Smithsonian, known as the world's largest museum and research complex, was founded in the 19th century by James Smithson, who envisioned it as a center for knowledge dissemination. Trump's specific grievances include accusations that the National Museum of African American History and Culture promotes notions of white culture and critiques exhibits that challenge biological definitions of race. During a 2017 visit to the museum, Trump praised its significance in honoring African American contributions to the nation, yet his current stance has sparked concern among visitors like Dorothy Wilson, who fears for future generations' understanding of history. The Southern Poverty Law Center's Margaret Huang emphasized that the complexities of U.S. history, encompassing both its triumphs and failures, must be acknowledged to foster an inclusive democracy. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.